There's things that you can do daily that will begin to transform your life. On the other side of this, there's things that you must stop doing daily in order to also create the life of your dreams. And in this video, this episode, I'm going to share with you step by step exactly what to do daily that you will look back 3 to 6 months from now and see this is the video, this is the episode that changed everything for you. Follow the practical advice I give you in this video. This isn't just esoteric, abstract concepts that you can kind of begin to apply in your life to get a change. These are practical, step-by-step, no BS, things that you can do to completely transform your life and turn your dreams into reality. Welcome back to another episode on the Aaron Doughty Podcast. Now, I'm looking and I'm thinking about my life and how much it's transformed over the last 3 to 5 years. And in the last 3 to 5 years, I've gone from working a 9-to-5 job that I was not passionate about to doing what I love. Even right now, as I record this, I'm getting ready to move from mainly being on YouTube and making content like via video to in-person events. We have, I think, 3 or 5 events scheduled for next year. And I can tell that the dream reality that I've envisioned has definitely come to fruition. A lot of the things that I used to imagine have happened. And that's the inspiration behind this video. And it's funny, I never actually would have saw though myself living in Austin, Texas. I live in Austin, Texas. I never really visualized that exactly. I think I probably did at one point visualize and imagine living by the beach. But I go to the beach and I go to Costa Rica twice a year. I go to California, which is where my girlfriend lives, which is pretty much on the beach. And it's interesting, but the vision has changed over the last 2 or 3 years, but it's definitely been one of like an abundant, transformative, my dreams have become reality type experiences. And I want to share with you the missing keys to it and the things that I wish I would have known 3 years ago that would have expedited the process. Because I had to get really honest with myself back in 2017. Now, one of the things you must stop doing in order to then, turn your dreams into reality is you must stop telling yourself the story that this is just about thinking thoughts. That's just about you just going to think your way to your dreams. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, but I'm just sharing with you what actually worked for me. It was not just thinking, in fact, thinking the better thought ideology did help me get out of some of the thinking the negative thoughts and not identifying with thoughts. But when I saw the movie The Secret and some of the most stereotypical ways of looking at manifestation, I can see that I felt blocked and I felt stuck and I was thinking about it. I was visualizing it. I had the wallpaper on my computer, had a photo of me, and it was funny. One time I had a photo of me and I had I edited out a YouTube channel. It was my YouTube profile photo of me, the one before I have what you now see on YouTube. And what I did, because it was the same one for 4 years, and then next to that, where it was the photo of me, it said 106,000 subscribers, 106,000 subscribers, 106K subscribers. And what I did is I photo edited it because I had 100 subscribers, and I put it on my desktop. And I would sit every time I'd open up my computer, that was my vision board. I would see that. I would see at the time I was single, so I think I had I was seeing myself dating beautiful women. I saw myself going to California and traveling. I saw myself, I had a picture of a very nice house that I wanted to live in. And the interesting thing was one time my sister came into my room and she goes, "Oh my God, you have 100,000 subscribers?" She thought that background was the window was open or something. And she freaked out. And it was this funny moment because I was like, "No, this is my vision board." I had to explain it to her, but I had the vision board and I would open it up every day and I would look at it. And then I would go to my 9-to-5 job. And what I had to do is I had to become very honest with myself because I was living in a reality where I kept justifying where I was and I just didn't know. It was unclear to me. What do I actually do to create my dream reality? Because I'm thinking about it. And the thing is this is not about just thinking better thoughts. I'm sorry. Like if you've been having blocks and you've been feeling stuck, maybe it's because you're thinking the thoughts, but you're missing the other two components of this. And the other two components for me were the missing ones. Now, back in 2017, some of you guys know the story, but in February of 2017, I was living at my dad's house and I had a lot of blocks and I felt stuck because the reasonings we have, there's a lot of things that will hold us back from starting. And if I were to say there's one main thread of this video and of this episode, it's the key and the thing that you must do every single day is you must start. You must start to create the YouTube channel that you know that you're going to be passionate about. You must start to ask that person out that you may be afraid to ask out. You must start dating if you've been holding yourself back from dating. You must start, it depends on what you want to attract. If you want to attract love, there's things you must start doing. If you want to attract more abundance, there's things you must start doing. But the one thing that you must really start is to start to align yourself to your dream reality and live in it now. For me, there was a year or two where I didn't start. I didn't start making the video. I didn't start even with where I was because I had blocks. And I think in my mind, I thought that, okay, I have these blocks to, making the videos, or I have these blocks because I don't know exactly what to do. But the blocks were there to keep me in familiar territory. Those blocks were there to keep me safe. And it wasn't like, in my mind, it was like, oh, once I do X, Y, Z, then I'll be ready. Once the blocks go away, then I'll be ready. The blocks aren't going to go. There's no time you're actually going to be ready. I can see now that when it comes to attracting love, I had blocks because I was afraid of rejection. So I was afraid to be my true self. I was afraid of getting rejected. I had this people pleaser mentality that would kind of come out. And then I can see that the key is I had to go into the unknown. And one thing I did is for love at least, I had to stop judging women. The woman I would go on dates with, I'd have all these reasons to why it won't work out. And it was like these self-sabotaging things. I had to also realize that those were also intimacy blocks that I had. And I had to open up my heart. And I had to put myself out there, the real me. And as I did that, it was a completely different response in reality. It was like I was wiring in a more of a leadership version of me. But I had to break out of what's comfortable to us let's talk about love and dynamics and relationships. What's comfortable to us may have been attracting people that don't choose us. That might be comfortable. I know that there's one or two friends that I talk to that are going through this right now. They're going through this trauma bond thing, and she keeps going back to this guy that's a friend of mine that she can tell is not choosing her, and she's feeling not chosen. But that was also the energy dynamic of growing up of what she felt, so it's a familiar pattern. And the key to this, though, is opening up the heart then puts you in this unfamiliar territory. But that's the key to creating your dream life. It's stepping out of the known and into the unknown, because that's where all the magic happens. In 2017, I made the choice to go daily on YouTube, living at my dad's house, had all these stories. I can't make YouTube videos. I live at my dad's house. I have this pool, my dad's pool in the backyard, but it's not my pool. I felt like how am I going to talk about the law of attraction and self-help stuff when I don't live in my own house, or I'm working this 9-to-5 job I don't like. But what I had to do is I had to still take action anyways. And at the time, for a long time, for 6 months of making YouTube videos, before I even made videos, I was like, I don't know how to edit. I don't have any editing skills. I had to go online and look up how to edit on iMovie. And I had to just figure it out. And even then I couldn't figure out certain things. So in my first YouTube video, it says insert title here in the middle of my face for the first 15 seconds. I didn't know how to change it. But I still put it out anyways. You have to start. That's the key to you creating your dream reality, is to simply, first off, start and stop telling yourself the excuses that have kept you safe for so long. This is really going to transform your life if you simply apply that. And I know this too because my buddy Victor and I, we have something called Full-Time Purpose, where we help people go full-time doing what they love. So we're helping people that know they have a spiritual message or a mission or a gift that they want to share with the world, and they don't know how to do that, or they're holding themselves back. And it's the most common thing we see is people just procrastinate and they don't start. They just keep waiting. They keep waiting to have the right editing equipment, to have the right software, to have the right camera equipment. They're waiting to be told they're waiting for the certificate. They're waiting to get the life coach certificate or the NLP certification or the healing thing. They're waiting for someone to tell them they're good enough. They're just waiting. They're waiting. They're waiting. And the thing is the longer you wait, the more you're putting your dreams on hold. There is no perfect time. There will never be a perfect time. And even when you start, you will move through the blocks. The blocks are going to be waiting for you, whether you do it now or in 3-6 months from now. It's about stepping into the unknown and having the courage. If there was one message of this episode, it'd also be courage. Having the courage to simply start. Now, another thing that will hold you back from creating your dream reality, as we were talking about earlier, is the thinking the better thought mentality. The thing that I needed to hear, that I didn't want to hear back in 2017, is to take massive action. This is the practical side of me. This is my Taurus rising side of me, maybe. And I used to always not like the Taurus at my chart. I don't know why. I'm a Taurus rising, a Gemini moon, and a Sagittarius sun. And I was like, I like the fire sign. I like the Gemini. But the Taurus, I think it's because I dated an ex-girlfriend that was a Taurus, and she was so stubborn. And I was like, I don't like that. I'm stubborn. I understand I am stubborn. The Taurus in my chart is also me I like really good food. I like luxury things. I live in a pretty luxury house. I like I like to be grounded. It's the practical side of me. If I didn't have Taurus in my chart, it's a side note, I know, but if I didn't have Taurus in my chart, my YouTube videos would be much more airy. I would be like, hey, just think a better thought, guys. You don't need to do anything. Just think a better thought. And I wouldn't be as good as big as I am on YouTube. You wouldn't have found my videos. So the practical side of me that used to not want to hear this, I've now embraced my Taurus side. I understand that taking massive action is extraordinarily powerful. So back in 2017, I started to take massive action. I remember hearing, who was it? Ralph Smart was talking about take massive action. And I'm like, what? That does not sound high vibrational. It sounds much higher vibrational just to sit here and just to think better thoughts and to visualize what I want and just to get into utter alignment with it. But the truth is, the way reality works is this 3-step process. It's see it, visualize what you want, be clear as to what you want and who you want to become. Feel it as if it's here now, which means also have the beliefs that generate that emotion, because your beliefs generate emotion. So believe that you're capable, like really believe in yourself. And then lastly, be it. See it, feel it, be it. See it, feel it, be it. You don't get in life that what you want, but you always get a reflection of who you are being. You always get a reflection of who you're being. By the way, I'm going to go out and say this. And first off, I'm not taking like this. I'm giving all the credit to where it's due. Okay. But I do want to share this story with you guys because it is such a powerful inspiration of somebody that is applying these concepts, these universal truths. Okay. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched UFC. All right. UFC, there's, it's fighting. Some people look at it and go, oh my God, it's so low vibrational because people are hitting each other. But it's a sport, and it's, there's a lot of like different styles in it and stuff. Anyways, there's this one person whose name is Juliana Pena. I hope I'm saying that right. Juliana Pena, and she's somebody that really believes in herself. She is a women's bantamweight division fighter at 135, and she recently went against someone named Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes is the GOAT, the best of all time inside of her. She has the 145 belt and the 135 belt, 135 pounds, 145 pounds. She has beaten some of the best people, and like she's considered the GOAT, all right? Juliana Pena fought Amanda Nunes, and she simply believed in herself. Now, let me preface this. How do I know she believes in the teachings or in the law of attraction and stuff like that? 2 or 3 months ago, before this fight, now this fight happened, there's a whole story behind this. And, okay, so this is what happened. 3 months ago, she reached out to me on an Instagram DM, and she said, hey, Aaron, she's like, She was really cool. She's like, I know you're busy, but I just want to know, I just want you to know, like, I have a couple questions about the law of attraction. There's like this thing I really want. I really want this, the championship belt, and I believe in it, and I visualized it for so long. Like, she was really asking for some advice. And I gave her quite a bit of advice. I sent out I gave her some voice notes and explaining things. I sent her some screenshots of some stuff. And the one thing that she took away, though, because she sent me a couple voice notes back, and she said, I really think that the taking on the identity of the champion is going to be the key in this. This is what she said. It was always her dream to be a UFC champion, right? So she's like, I think that what you're saying is I need to take on the embodiment and the energy of a champion and see it as natural. And that was one of the main things I remember saying in everything, was see it as natural. So what she does is and I noticed, because she had this fight with Amanda Nunes, that then what happened is it got put on hold because Amanda got the thing, and she was out for a couple months or whatever. So it got re-put back onto December 11th, which was the fight, I think. And then what happened, and it was a really cool experience too, because my dad was in town here in Austin, and I had some friends over. We had a whole bunch of people over at my house, and we were watching it, rooting for Juliana. And my dad is kind of like, come to understand what I do, and I could tell that there was a part of my dad that wanted to like show while being here that he's proud of me and stuff like that. But it's just a really cool experience because we're watching Juliana fight Amanda Nunes, and Amanda Nunes is the far favorite. It's like, I think she was projected to win. Like, you had to put down $1,000 on Amanda Nunes just to win $100. That's how favored Amanda Nunes was. Amanda Nunes has really never lost. Maybe she's lost before back in the day, but she's just been unstoppable. And then Juliana, who's the one that sent me the DM months ago, I was just so rooting for her. And also there was like, I was like looking at her energy, and she was like carrying herself as a champion. She was not letting Amanda get in her head. And actually the day before the fight, she was doing this press conference. She was getting inside of Amanda Nunes' head. I could see Amanda was way more reactive than normal. So the day of the fight, we're all excited, and it's like I think there's a lot of people that just completely counted out Juliana because Amanda was just such a fucking favorite, to be honest with you. She was just so favored to win this fight, and it was now during the fight, the first round, Amanda Nunes kind of did her thing, and it kind of looked like she was winning. The second round, there was something that just like switched, or Juliana honestly had that look the whole fight. But then what happened is Juliana starts fighting, and all of a sudden, Amanda Nunes starts getting rocked. She starts getting hit. And it almost was like people were figuring out that Santa Claus wasn't real. It was like people could not believe. Joe Rogan, everyone was going crazy because Juliana starts winning in the second round, and then Juliana gets on her back, like gets her, and you could see this weakness in Amanda Nunes, and all of a sudden, Juliana gets around her back and ends up submitting her, and she taps out, and she won. She won. She beat like this person that was unbeatable in so many people's eyes, and there was a part, I was just so excited as well because she's applying the teaching. She shifted her identity. She is a 135-pound bantamweight champion, and she applies exactly what I'm talking about right now. And she did it herself, by the way. I'm taking zero credit for it. It was actually very embarrassing because when I was watching it, my dad kept like saying like he thought it was so cool, I was like, Dad, like, she did it. Juliana did it herself. She did this whole thing. I just thought it was cool, though, that she embodies the teachings of like being the champion, making it natural, stuff like that. My dad seemed to think that I had like a part in it or something like that. And I was like, no, she did that. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is because she applied exactly what I'm sharing with you. Take on the identity. You get in life a reflection of who you are being. And she was being a champion from the moment before she even stepped into the cage. Even before that, at the press conference the day or two before, like she was being that champion. You could tell she wasn't putting it on a pedestal. It was natural for her. And now she's the champion of the 130. Like her whole entire life has changed now. Because she has beat, one, she beat Amanda Nunes. Two, she's the champion. Like, that alone is like, she was a dream of hers. Her dream has come to reality because she's applied that. She's taken massive action. She's put so much work in to get there. Like, she had to take massive action. She had to, at the end, I think an important part for her was to not put this on a pedestal, to not like make it more important than it is, to realize that as a champion, this is natural for you. to be this. So that's the reason I'm sharing this with you too, is to understand this identity piece. Because unless you take on the identity and you're being it consistently, moving forward, your reality won't shift very much. For me, I had to see myself as a full-time YouTuber, and I had to follow that up every single day by making a video on YouTube every single day with the intention of adding value back in 2017, and I just kept doing that. It was sometimes challenging. I'd get done at work sometimes at 12 midnight because I worked at Barney's New York on the Las Vegas Strip. I'd get done at midnight. I'd go home. I'd make a video, I would then edit the video and then schedule to go out, go to bed at like 3 in the morning, and then wake up and do it again. And there were many days where that would happen. Not all the time, but that did happen because I made a rule with myself. I made a commitment to myself that I am this new person now. And that is something that if you want to create your dream reality, commit to that identity. Commit to that version of you. Take massive action. Thinking better thoughts will only get you so far. I can see how thinking better thoughts and even thinking thoughts like visualizing meeting Tony Robbins, visualize meeting some people. You know, I met Jack Canfield. I met some other people in my space, and I thought they were going to put me on and give me some opportunity. And there's some spiritual people too that the way they manifest is they just want to be given things. They just want to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is one way of manifestation. But another way, the old school version of me that's like this, that feels like an old guy now because I'm like, you can also earn it, right? Yes, someone can gift you an amazing house or gift you like a cool experience or buy you something. That's one way of abundance. But the other way is the way money works is the more value you put out into the world, money is the exchange system for that. So you can also acquire the money through the value you put out. You can create it like, I guess I find pride because I'm self-made. Nobody gave me what I have. I didn't meet Tony Robbins and he put me on. I think I've made 2,000 videos on YouTube over the last 4 years. That took massive action. So I guess I have a little bit of pride with that. But I don't discount the other ways of manifestation where you could be in the right place at the right time. Someone can gift you things. You could live in like an awesome house that someone just lets you live in. There are different options there. Now, another thing I want to talk about, and one thing you might want to stop doing to really create your dream life, and especially stop doing this daily to create your dream life, is this. This has been a game changer for me over the last week. Literally the last week, everything, like my energy is completely changing. I used to make daily videos every single day on YouTube, and then I was like, oh, I'm just not passionate about that anymore. So now I do like 3 podcast episodes a week on YouTube, and I figured, oh, my motivation just kind of went away. Maybe I'm not passionate about it. I want to do live events, which is somewhat true. Here's another aspect of it, though. Over the last like 8 months, I've gotten more dopamine high than ever before off of watching television shows on Netflix. Back in the day, I watched a whole series called Vikings. Amazing series, by the way. I like that series so much that I follow the actors on the show Vikings on Instagram. That's how much I like the show Vikings. I watched it, and every night I would look forward to watching it, and I'd go and I'd lay in my love sack at the last house I was living in, and I would just watch Vikings. And sometimes my girlfriend was in town, and Heather and I would just sit there and watch Vikings. She's actually the one that got me in the show. And it was awesome. I get the dopamine rush at the end of the day, do some work in the morning. Then after Vikings ended, I was like, I kind of miss it. So then I found a show called Game of Thrones. And I started watching Game of Thrones. And guess what? I got sucked right in. I watched like the whole entire series, which is like 10 episodes / an hour long each, like / 6 seasons or something. Like it was a very long, these big commitments, but big dopamine dumps at the end of the night, right? After that, my assistant comes to town and with her and her boyfriend. And guess what she introduced me to? Narcos. And I'm like, I justify Narcos because half of it's in Spanish, and I'm learning Spanish because I'm watching the subtitles and I'm hearing it. I watched the whole entire series of the Colombian Narcos, and then I watched the whole entire one of the Mexico Narcos. And I'm realizing that my dreams, by the way, after all of these shows at night, I'd go to bed at night, and I'd have these dreams about whatever I was dreaming about. I watched Squid Games. I'd have dreams about me being locked in a place, having to escape. I watched Vikings. I'd have literally dreams I was in battle. I actually like those dreams, by the way. I thought they were really cool because Vikings are just a cool thing to me. Same with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is pretty intense, like some of the visuals and stuff, but I just have these crazy dreams. As of a week ago, I stopped watching television at night. I watch a little bit, but then what I do is I focus more on the video I'm going to make the next day. I'm wearing my blue blockers at night. I'm going to bed earlier, and it has completely revolutionized my own energy. I have so much more motivation. And I remember when I was going full-time with my passion, when I was turning my dreams into reality, it required a lot of focus. It did. Not just thinking better thoughts, but focus and action. And that's where my dopamine would go. So I'm not saying get lost in it, but I can tell that that was such an important part of my reality, is like really putting a lot of energy into it. And my YouTube channel does better when I put my own energy into YouTube. When I outsource everything and I have other editors and stuff like that, I can tell that my energy in it more does better. Doesn't mean I edit my videos, because I don't, but there's like I can tell that like now I'm more passionate about YouTube, and I can tell it's doing better. It's interesting how it works. But you have to, like, the energy going into it is important. And for me, by stopping watching television that's just giving me dopamine releases, I can tell that I now have more energy to put in my passion. I have more energy, and it's just more fulfilling. So one thing I would highly recommend you do is you stop putting energy into stuff that you know is not programming you in a powerful way. Don't watch the news. Reward yourself with certain television shows, but don't overdo it. Because there were nights I'd watch 3 or 4 episodes of Narcos. That's a lot of that's a lot of drugs, and a lot of people being killed, and a lot of bodies being hidden. It's a lot of like negative things that are going in my mind. Well, even if I did one a day, maybe it wouldn't be as bad. It's just like 1 hour. But I can tell that instead I'm focusing on what is the video for the next day. What am I passionate about? I read a book. I was reading last night more than I read in a long time. Learning new things. I can tell that affects things differently, but it does require a certain amount of focus. I have a buddy of mine that's like a breathwork practitioner. His name's Steven, and I can tell that I can see what he's going through right now, because he's like in the excitement of getting momentum. He's doing like these breathwork trainings and stuff, and he's like starting to get to another level. And I can tell he's excited. He's got all of his energy going to it. It reminds me of where I was back in 2017, because it does require a lot of energy. He's like, I went on vacation for 2 days and I just wanted to get back to work. That's how I was. I'm not saying that that's like, it's okay to go on vacation and enjoy yourself, but when you love what you do, it's like you want to put your energy there. And when I love, like I'm getting back to making videos, and I can tell I'm enjoying it again. The key though, for you creating your dream reality, is to stop dopamine dumping your energy into television shows, alcohol, drugs, and stuff like that, so that your energy is more pure, and to start putting it towards, that's the first thing. Just simply start taking action. Ask that person out. Start putting yourself out in new situations. Start making YouTube videos. Start creating that art. Just start. And you figure it out as you go. The blocks will come up, and then stop believing the old blocks. Stop believing in their validity, let them go, and then realize that as you let them go, everything begins to change. Look at Juliana Pena. Same thing. She changed her identity. She took on the identity of a champion. She was being it. She was probably training as a champion. She was eating as a champion. Everything she was doing was with that identity, and she's now the champion. So that's the part of this video that I think is so powerful. Now, there are 6 steps. This is what I call the shift experience. I made a video on this, exactly step by step, what to do for 2022, the energy of it, the exact 6 steps, practical steps you could take to completely transform your life. It's a 6-step process. Check that video out here. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you on the next one. This episode, I'm going to show you the 6 steps that you can use to completely transform your life in 2022. I'm sure you've noticed 2021 has been a massive year of shadow work, a massive year of letting go, and